Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today we're out in York, South Carolina. This is a suburb of Charlotte, a good distance from Charlotte, but still a suburb of Charlotte. And what we're doing is we're putting in a sump pump, Sump Pit. You can see the guys over here, they've already started to dig. Basically what we're doing is we're just digging it out with a small shovel. Pretty good room to work in here. And putting the dirt into buckets. They bring the buckets outside, put that dirt into a wheelbarrow, and we'll just put that on the side of the house and use it as fill to grade away from the side of the house. It's been raining this morning, and you can see just within a few hours, water starts to run down along the footers here. You can see it all over here. Basically, he may need a footer tile. Remember, that's gravel perforated pipe to help collect this water and send it down here to the new sump pump, Sump Pit, that we're putting in. Okay, so these guys have the pit already dug out, the hole. Now what we need to do is just perforate our pit. Always the same thing. The reason that we do this is so that it doesn't float up out of there. Remember, it could turn into a boat if water gets underneath of it. So basically we just drill a few holes in it. And we just perforate around the side. Next, we're going to go ahead and cut off this nipple so that for the future use of this, we can put a footer tile on here and expand it, the system. We're ready to put our basin down into the pit. So now we're going to set up our sump pump. Today we're using a Liberty model 257, and I showed you some head ratings on how fast this pump actually works, and it works really good. So we're going to use a Liberty today, and starts the same way. 1.5" threaded male adapter goes down into the port, which is female threaded 1.5". Next, we're going to put our riser on here. It was laying in the mud, but it won't hurt anything. We're going to glue that together. And we're going to put on our check valve with the arrow pointing upwards. We'll glue all this, tighten this up, set it down in the sump pit, and plumb that up and out through the wall. We're ready to go ahead and plumb this up. I'm going to put a little primer on here just to help clean that area off. Let that set up for just a second. All it's doing is priming the area, getting it ready for this great glue. Because when this glue goes on here, it sets up instantly. Push it down into your fitting, hold it. That one's done. Make sure you put your lids back on your primer because you can see it drips all over the place. Great stuff, but rather messy. Next, we're going to put our check valve on, and you can see the arrow pointing upwards. We use our drill to tighten up these no-hub bands, and they're stainless steel bands. We just tighten them right up. Just as tight as your drill can make it. So we're all set with this. We're ready to go ahead and put our sump pump and our sump pit back together. Let's go ahead and do that. So next we're going to go ahead and core through this foundation wall. This is 1 brick thick, and then there's 2 block that total 8 inches thick. So we're going to go through about 12 inches, and our core drill is only 8 inches deep, so we're going to have to go through from the other side. I already made the measurements. I want to come through right here. So we've got our discharge line coming through the wall, and now we're ready to go ahead and put the sump pit back in here. And you can see we're getting some water down here, a lot of water, which is really good. So we're ready to put our sump pit in place. You can see our nipple right here, that has to face into our footer tile. We're at a real good depth, as you can see, a real good depth down there. Perfect. Next, we're going to go ahead and set our sump pump down into the pit. This pump has a 10-foot cord, so we've got plenty to work with here. Make sure it sets squarely on the bottom. Okay, so now we're ready to plumb this up. Remember, we're going to have to put our no-hub band on here, so let's go ahead and hook up the check valve first. Make sure that you get all the way into that rubber piece. Then we want to loosen up our clamp a little bit. Slide it down over the hard rubber, and we're going to tighten that up with a 5/16 inch drill bit. Just as tight as that drill can make it. Now we're ready to put our 90 on, but let's take a look. You can see our pump sitting in the bottom of the pit. That's going to come up. We'll put a 90 on here and glue it to our discharge as it goes out through the wall. So let's go ahead and prime up both pieces that we're gluing together. The primer really makes it nice and clean, even if there's a little mud on there. Now, the primer really just preps that PVC for the glue. I'm going to go ahead and glue the discharge through the wall first, because that piece is movable. We can twist it and do whatever we want at this point. So let's go ahead and put the 90 on there. Let's go ahead and put this 90 on. Let that set up for a second. And you can see we're perfect. We'll push down on this piece right here, and this is going to fit perfectly together. So let's go ahead and glue that last piece together. We're ready for our Oatly medium bond cement. Put that on there. Now all we're going to do is just push down on the pump, because the check valve can come apart a little bit, and push that right together. There we go. And we'll re-secure everything and we're all done. So then finally what we're going to do is just put a little bit more primer out here and glue this up. This is a little bit of a discharge to get it away from the foundation. And that's pretty much it. Just kind of hold it in place there, because that does try to push itself out for a second. Now all we're going to do is take the pine straw, cover this up, and we've just completed a sump pump. So this is a project, a great project that the homeowner could do themselves. Take you a couple of hours. We're just putting the last bit of gravel down on the pipe, covering it up. Remember that gravel has voids in it, so it allows water to permeate right through it almost instantly. Got holes in the perforated pipe. As water comes down the trench, it fills up from the bottom, enters those holes, holes point down, and the pipe takes it over to the sump pit. The sump pump lifts it up, carries it out, and discharges it out through the wall. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains.
Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains.
Hey, this is Paul with Apple Drains.
Reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day. So we're dumping off a little bit of gravel here for tomorrow. Let's take a look at what we're going to do tomorrow. You can see this is the garage, and he had a termite issue, a bad one. Water had been getting in underneath of this sill plate here at the floor, and his termites just destroyed the stairwell leading up to the second floor. Really a bad issue. he went ahead and started digging out. He's right on the footer, and he had a sump pump in here for a little while, and that just pumped this water out. And of course it rained this morning. But tomorrow we're going to come back, remove all these shrubs. We're going to dig down to that footer and parge the wall, removing all of these shrubs. Dig down all the way to this side of the garage, seal the wall, put in a footer pipe, footer tile, gravel perforated pipe, and then solid pipe will run all the way out to the street.